You think you know me.
On this day, I see clearly everything is come to light.
So there's this ongoing debate as it relates to student athletes transferring between high schools. So, there's this thing where student athletes are allowed to transfer from schools that are not known for sports to school that are basically traditionally known for sport. And if we should look at it from a general point of view, there are a whole lot of positives and a whole lot of negatives also as it relates to student athletes transferring between schools. Now, we want to take a look at some of the positives firstly. So, athletes transferring from a non traditional sports school to one that is traditionally known for sports has its benefits. We see where the athletes have access to better coaching. Traditional sports schools are more likely to have better coaching staff due to the fact that they are willing to invest more time and money. It is without a shadow of a doubt that with money comes, as it relates to the whole coaching and the whole sports thing, with money comes better performance or better performances, because if you are able to provide the facilities and provide the equipment needed, then it is no doubt that you are more than likely going to have better performances. So we see where athletes transferring from schools that are not traditionally known for sports to schools that are more traditionally known for sports. We see where they have access to better facilities and equipment, and and most of the time better coaching. We see also where they are able to get more exposure. With more resources coupled with better facilities, these athletes are able to participate in more competitive competitions. An athlete that is at a school that is not willing to invest or to spend a lot of money in the area of sport, that same athlete will more than likely perform much better if he or she should move to a school that is willing to invest in sporting equipment and the whole sporting facilities. As it relates to them going out on a competitive level, they will be more exposed due to the fact that there won't be certain amount of financial restraint as it relates to the amount of competition or the amount of events that they are able to attend per year. Say, for example, a school that is traditionally known for sport might say, all right, here what, we want to participate in 6 or 7 development meet before the boys and girls championships come around. 6 or 7 developmental meet. A school that is not willing to invest that amount of money and resources might say, here what, we are only able to allow our athletes to participate in maybe 2 or 3 developmental meet. That will most definitely work against the athlete that is not being allowed to participate in a certain amount of developmental meet before the big championship. So we see where exposure is also one of the benefits for the athletes at the traditional sports school. We see where at times they have access to full scholarship, as a part of their transfer package. Athletes are sometimes basically offered full scholarship. We're talking about the full payment of their school fee. We're talking about book fees, etc. The whole reason why some schools are able to do this is the fact that they have stronger past students association. And we see where schools that are traditionally known for sports usually, basically have a good support as it relates to past students association, and these past students usually raise a lot of funds or donate a lot of funds to help with the running of the whole sports program. So we see where the whole getting scholarship and getting opportunity is something that a lot of the athletes will gravitate towards, why they will look to push a move from their school that is not traditionally known for sports to a traditionally sports school per se. We see where these traditional sports schools are usually closely linked with colleges and clubs overseas. This basically makes it the transitioning from high school sports to college or club much smoother in comparison to schools that are non-traditional sports schools. So, and countless number of times we have seen where some students who are basically not even ready to make the transition into college sport, they still get the opportunity because of the school that they would have been representing while in high school. Where we whereas a one or two student representing schools that are not usually pushing the sports thing, they might miss out on that opportunity. So we see where the linking of high schools to clubs and colleges are basically a couple of the reasons why some of these students are pushing for a move as it relates to going into schools that are traditionally known for sports. So those are basically some of the positives as it relates to students wanting to transfer from their school. So with positives there are also some amount of negatives. So we want to take a look at some of the negatives. We see where athlete might be required to move away from his or her home based on the location of the new school that they will be transferred to. So say for example, a student that is very good at the 100 or the 200 meter decides that, here what, I want to transfer from my school in Westmoreland to a school that is in Kingston, that would more than likely mean the student not only transferring from school but also leaving home. So we see where that student will now more than likely be boarding at the new school, or will have to board within the communities of the new school. So this basically means a minimum of parent-child contact time. With a child have being asked to transfer from down in the Westmoreland region to Kingston. The parent might not be in a position to move the entire family to Kingston. So we find that there won't be as much parent child contact time as before. This might become a shock to the system as it relates to the child moving from home to settle into a new environment. There are a whole lot of things that a child might not be able to do. Well, the child might be able to do these things for themselves, but after having a long day of school, after having to train, a child coming home might not have the energy to iron. They might not have the energy to do some of the stuff that a mother or a father would help out with. All of this responsibility would more than likely fall on the child after having to go to classes throughout the day, having to train for maybe 2 to 3 hours, then to go home and to get themselves together and to get everything prepared for school the following day. We also see where the new culture of the new school might also allow them to be unsettled for a while. We also see talented athletes transferring from their original school to a new school and basically get caught up in the wrong aspect of the new culture. So we see where students might leave their home and go to board in their new school, and some of the things that a parent wouldn't be so happy to know that their children are doing, that those are some of the things that these children might end up taking up because of the fact that they are trying to adapt to a new culture, and they are not being monitored by their biological parents as before. One another important thing that affect a lot of these athletes is them having to adapt to different teaching and coaching style. Having been with a coach from the beginning of your career, basically from the beginning of your developmental career, to then transition into a new program, that sometimes can be a very challenging thing, especially for young athletes. The whole coaching style and the whole teaching style might be different from how or from what they were used to. So this might cause some amount of unsettling, or basically they might not be able to perform at the same level that they were at before. Another important thing that persons tend to overlook sometimes is basically friendship. A lot of students would have developed a lot of friendship within their original school. Not only friends as it relates to going throughout the day, but also a training partner, somebody that will motivate you to train, somebody that will motivate you to say, here what, after training, let us sit down and get these homeworks out of the way. Somebody that is always there to make sure that you're on the right track. It might not be that easy to basically find somebody to act as that type of guide when you're going into your new school. So basically, we see where a lot of students might fall back, not only in their sporting activities that they are doing, but also book wise. So I mean, I am not knocking the whole transferring of students between high schools, because we see where it has its benefits, but there are also some negatives to it. So it is just for the coaches and the teachers to make sure that whenever a student transfer to his or her school, there is always somebody there to help them to ease into the new culture of the school, to monitor them, to make sure that they are not slacking up, to make sure that they are reaching their full potential. So once it is something that is there to provide opportunity for the students, I am all for it. Persons might look and say, leave the students in their original school to help the school to develop. A one or two athlete might be in a school that can help to develop a program, but at the same time, if those one or two children should move to another school, that might mean a better opportunity for them. And we have to make sure that we are not selfish as it relates to using the children to develop a program, when if that child should go to a next school, it would be better for them. We have to make sure that we're always looking for the children's best interests as it relates to the whole sporting disciplines. So that's basically it. So the question is still there: to transfer or to not transfer. That is what we are still looking at. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe as we try to keep you up to date with the latest in the world of sports.